Okay, I have laid my little face over my top part. I still have the bottom portion of my little creature that doesn't have anything on it right now. It doesn't need anything on it right now. Okay, I'm gonna move it over here. And I wanna sew this piece right here onto this piece. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did when I sewed on this little gray patch under his eye. Okay, now just a note on your buttons. If you're thinking, I don't have this big bag of buttons like Miss Prather has, you don't need a big bag of buttons. Probably if you just kind of scanned your house, you might find a few, or you might ask mom or dad, hey, can we look on the edge of your clothes to see if there's an extra button sewn someplace on a tag inside the shirt? And if they don't need it, then maybe you can use that button. Or, you know, put an all call out on your neighborhood, your neighborhood page if you have one, and just say, does anybody have any buttons? But again, just even a little package of buttons, it's maybe $1, which is fun. And if you need buttons, let me know. Okay. All right. So I'm going to come up. I'm not going to come up through this one. I'm going to come up through both pieces. Okay. So it doesn't really matter where I start. I always go counterclockwise. Okay. Counterclockwise. Remember that. So I'm going to come up through. Now I'm using embroidery thread again. I'm fascinated by this. So I'm going to use it because I like it and it's thicker and you can see my stitches better. I also am using a brown color for my face. You can change your colors out however you want. When we do the little monkeys, we kind of call them voodoo monkeys because oftentimes as we run out of thread, we just have to use whatever thread's available to sew. And so they're just a ton of different colors and they're so fun. So my little monster is kind of the same thing. All right, so I'm gonna do the same premise here. I'm gonna come right next to the face outline and I'm gonna pull it through slowly because I do not want a knot in my thread. I may have gotten just a little bit too much thread. And then I'm gonna space it again, coming up through the bottom. I want my stitch to be even with the last stitch. So I'm gonna come up and look at it getting sort of knotty in the back. So I wanna just check it. Hold everything in place. Again, we're gonna go straight down the body of the monster, just slightly under that face patch, if you want to call it that. If we were in class, you would have practiced this because what happens when we're doing it, the reason why we practice it, again, think about your dot spacing when we did our sewing our overcast stitch on paper. This is the stitch that you're using currently. This is an overcast stitch. This is an overcast stitch. This was a running stitch. You're using the same stitch. So remember those spacing. That's why the dots were spaced the way they were. Okay. Gonna keep rolling along here. And I think you guys got it. Just remember, it's so much easier if you will not flip back and forth. The only reason why I turn it over is just to make sure I'm not creating a knot back there. Now, I might have made this particular thread piece a little bit longer than I normally would, but I'm sort of trying to I'm hoping against hope that I have enough to complete the whole face. What if I don't have enough to complete the whole face? Well, then in the same way that we tied off here, how we turned it over on this piece right here, turned it over and tied off right there, you're gonna do the same thing. And you're gonna just turn over and you're gonna tie it off and trim it and you're gonna start again the same way you started here. Remember, don't go through over here. You don't want it to do this. Let me show you what it will do if you do that. You do not want to cast over the whole monster. Your stitch will look like this and it's just a hot mess. So remember, we're only tacking on the little face patch onto the monster's front side of his body. So even up with that stitch right there. Hot little mess coming out there. Let's fix that with my needle. Pull it through. I definitely like this embroidery thread. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I just picked this little package up. I have a ton of it at school, but I picked it up at Hobby Lobby, just a little packet of about 20 different colors. Okay, I'm gonna keep going and we'll come back and get ready to stitch on the body, okay? Okay, so this is the back of what it looks like when you have stitched on the applique face and your finished product with the Overcast stitch.